Hi guys, it's your golden intern here again with answers to some of your questions. Today I'm here with Dave Hamilton, Chief Restaurant Officer for McDonald's USA. Here to talk about kind of who owns McDonald's restaurants and even stuff about the international market. McDonald's is everywhere. So let's talk to Dave. Dave, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
Lauren, I'm glad to be here. It's good to see
Great.
you.
Well, we have lots of questions for you, so why don't we just begin with kind of describing your role at McDonald's. And I know Dave has actually started as a crew member for McDonald's in the restaurant, and he's even had experience in Japan.
Right. So I started with McDonald's about 35 years ago.
Wow.
Not too many years ago, but I was a 16-year-old high school kid. And I got the job at McDonald's, and I was trying to make some money so I could buy myself a car and do other things that were fun to do. So over those years, I've spent all my time in McDonald's in the field.
Okay.
And it's only recently that I've come to Chicago as the Chief Restaurant Officer, which talks about how I work with the operations groups nationally to support the national McDonald's in the U.S., franchising and franchise relations, restaurant development, what has to do with the real estate side and the construction side of our business, and a few other things that go along with it. So it's a great company and a great time that I have doing the job
and
that I do.
And a good job that you have, for sure. Well, let's begin with some of the questions about the restaurant. Dave, how is a McDonald's brought to the community?
So we have a real estate department within our organization, and we support them here at our home office, but in the field we have real estate representatives. So they're experts in the field, and they go out and they do research to determine where the best opportunity is to grow our business. So they look at traffic patterns, they look at where shopping is, where people are going from schools to home, work, and so forth, to identify the best locations to put a McDonald's.
Great. A lot of thought behind it.
There's a lot of thought behind it and a lot of research.
Well,
we don't want to make a mistake.
No. Yeah, I would like to see them everywhere. But what about bringing a McDonald's to a university? I know my university does not have one, so I'd be interested to know how that works.
So a lot of times with universities, or as we call them special venues, which are airports or universities or malls and so forth, the university will come out with an RFP, or request for proposal, for food service. And they'll typically send those out to a variety of different vendors. And then we go in and do the research to determine whether we'd like to be on that special venue, be it a university. And then we make our proposal to the university and our offer in terms of what kind of rent we would pay, what our store would look like, and how it would fit into the university. And then that's where the cycle begins.
Great. Now, are all U.S. McDonald's restaurants, are they franchised?
No, in the U.S., we've got about 85% of our restaurants are franchised, and roughly 15% are company-owned.
Okay, wow. All right, well, I know you kind of touched on this, so maybe just to reiterate, would an individual, approach McDonald's home office saying, I'd really like to own a McDonald's, or like you said, kind of more of the research with the corporate going to the specific areas? Is that kind of more what it is?
Sure. So what happens is we have an individual that would like to become a McDonald's franchisee. So first, McDonald's determines the location. And we buy the property and we build the building. And then we seek out the right franchisee for that location. So that franchisee could be a person that has gone on McDonald's.com and filled out an application and worked in a McDonald's for a couple of years to get trained. It could be a company employee who's decided that they'd like to leave the company and go be a franchisee in their own right. It could be a employee for a existing franchisee. So there's a variety of ways that people can become franchisees in McDonald's. And the list is pretty long, so if you want to get on the list, you better start early.
Right. I heard there is a waiting list. Now, can we talk about maybe how much it would cost to own one?
The cost of a McDonald's is different from location to location to location. So there's no one set price for a McDonald's location. It's all about what the business will bear. So if you're in New York City, you may have a higher cost of getting into business because the real estate costs are very, very high versus some other small town across the United States. So there's no one set price for a McDonald's. But again, we try to keep it so that the returns are very good. So you put money in, you get a good return from your money on the way out.
Definitely, that makes sense for the, where it's located for sure. Well, what about the way the restaurant looks, the model? I know there's like a retro one in Jacksonville, one viewer, Courtney, said. So how does that go about? Can a franchisor decide what they want the restaurant to look like?
So one of the things that we do is we want to make sure that we have the right size building to fit the need of the community. So if you're in Tokyo, Japan, and you have very limited space, you've got to be very, very compact with the equipment that you have. If you are in a suburban location with a lot of traffic next to an interstate, you need to have a big drive-through because people are coming through in a drive-through.
Right.
So we help the franchisee and we design what the model looks like and build the best building to fit the need of the customer.
Nice.
Now the inside is predominantly up to the franchisee.
Okay.
They can do things that fits their style and the customer style. It might be a 50s retro building. It could be an Asian style building. It could be a Western building. But we want to fit into the community and make sure that our customers like the restaurant. That's all important.
That's great. There's so much thought behind the interior design of it too, not
Sure.
exterior or interior. That's great. Well, let's talk about the prices. One viewer said you can go to one McDonald's and pay this price for this item, and it could be different in another. How does that work?
Sure. And again, I'll relate back to my earlier comment. Prices are going to be different in different parts of the United States for a Big Mac based on the cost of doing business in that marketplace. So if you have a very, very high real estate costs, you might have higher labor costs, simple things like trash removal. All that adds up to come up with a formula that helps us identify what our prices should be at. What we really want to be is we want to be fairly priced in the community that we are. We want to be the best brand in the community and offer our customers a great value wherever we are.
Definitely. All right, well, talking about the experience and no matter where the McDonald's is located, how do you ensure that you are getting the same McDonald's experience at every restaurant?
So a lot of work goes into that. And, if you could pan that camera around and look at this building, there's quite a few people in this building.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of our folks in the field that work very, very closely with our suppliers and with our franchisees to ensure the quality and safety of our food. And then we have a franchise agreement with our franchisees, and they must adhere to that franchise agreement.
Oh.
And it talks all about the quality of the food, the speed of the service, and the cleanliness of the restaurant. So there's safeguards in place. We have field people that work with our franchisees, and our suppliers work with our franchisees to ensure that we have the highest quality standards for our customers.
It's a real big system.
It's quite big.
And you help to manage that, and that's great.
Well, it's been a lot of fun doing it, so
Yeah.
it's been terrific.
Well, let's kind of talk about McDonald's internationally. What are some of the other countries in those main markets?
So some of our biggest markets, obviously the U.S. is number one, and then close by here we have Canada, which is a big market for us. Over in Europe, you're looking at Germany, France, and the U.K.
Okay.
And then in Asia, Japan is a very, very big market for us. It has the second largest number of restaurants outside of the United States.
Wow.
And then we've got some up-and-coming emerging markets, China, obviously, and you've all read about China, about the growth there. Russia is a big market for us. And then, a market on the horizon that we think has tremendous opportunity is India.
Wow. Gosh. Well, with all those different locations, are some of the menu items different?
Sure. In all of the markets around the world, we have certain core items that are core to McDonald's that people come to expect when they go to McDonald's.
Right.
So hamburger, French fries,
Right.
icy cold Coke, and so forth. But beyond those core items, we also have to have certain flavor profiles that the local consumer likes. So as an example, in Japan, which I happened to work in for a few years, we have a teriyaki burger. So it's a pork burger with teriyaki sauce on it. It's actually very, very good, as well as a shrimp burger.
Shrimp.
A shrimp burger.
So cool. You can work with McDonald's and work anywhere.
That's right.
And your career has been so exciting, like you said.
Yeah. Working in Japan was one of the greatest experiences of my life, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
Personally, just living in a different culture, enjoying the culture, the food, and so forth. And then doing business in McDonald's in a different culture that just different styles of doing business and getting things done.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I hope to travel with McDonald's one day.
No doubt you will.
Cool. Well, let's bring it back to the U.S. for a final question. What is the busiest restaurant, or the largest, or most profitable?
Well, so we have several restaurants that are really, really, really busy.
Okay.
On any given day, one might be a little ahead of the other.
Right.
But some of our busiest, we have a big one in downtown Chicago, our 50th anniversary building.
That's a great one.
Times Square is relatively busy. Down in Florida, Disney World, very, very busy.
Great.
And then also a few stores on the West Coast.
Wow.
So I don't know if I can identify the busiest, but
Right.
they're all trying to compete against each other.
And no one is making any more money than the other?
Well, I'm sure there's, on any given day, you'll have the restaurants that's the most successful, let's say, is the restaurant that's pleasing the most customers and growing their business. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dave, for taking your time and answering all these really great questions about how to own a McDonald's and much, much more. So
Thanks.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thank you guys yet again for all of your questions. You've been really helpful for me to meet really great people like Dave. Until next time, thanks.